office computer. Oh, recording in progress. Hi, everybody. Holy moly. I can't see myself. Why can't I see myself? That's weird. Oh, there I am. Okay. So how is everybody? Are we all good? I mean, kind of. I mean, it is what I don't even know what night it is. Wednesday night. So we're going to talk about strategies for strong-willed kids for an hour. We could probably do it for 7 because this temperament is tricky. And it's tricky because all the things we've learned in behavior, most of the things we learned, I shouldn't say all, most of the things we learned in behavior and are taught do not work with this temperament. So we aren't really sure what to do, right? We're all like, and we want to make it fun, fast, and easy. We want it to just, the behavior to just go away, and it's just not going to, unfortunately, work that way. So, right, I always say 98% of the time, a challenging behavior is a lack of skill or an unmet need. Then we need to use our 2 best friends of time and patience. And even with this temperament, you can't get around that. It still teaches skill, meet a need. And then we have to use our 2 best friends of time and patience. And people want it to be faster. It's just not the case. Can everybody make sure you mute, please? Sorry, I know I keep asking. But otherwise I have to go through like all 50 of you to try to find who's not muted. So if you can mute, that'd be great. So I have the strong-willed temperament. I bet you would have never guessed. So I did not know this till I was 37. And at 37, I realized that I had, go to participants and click mute all. Oh, see, someone knew what to do. Participants. Sorry, guys. It just says invite. Oh, admit, mute all. Yes. Oh, thanks, whoever said that. So I have the strong-willed temperament. I found out that I was strong-willed when my co-teacher, who I taught with for many years, said to me, Brennan is intense like you are. And I was like, I'm intense? She goes, I said, you think I'm intense? She goes, you think you're not intense? And I was like, oh, I didn't think so. I thought I was fun and friendly for a lot of years. And the more I research and read and hang out with strong-willed kids, I was like, oh, got it. That's me, right? When I gave birth to Brennan, it was in May. So I had May, June, July, and August off. I sent him to childcare in September and I went back to work. Well, I went back to work as, right? I didn't go back to work like back to teaching. I started a new job as an independent behavior consultant when Brennan was 4 months old. I had 0 jobs. I researched and found all the special ed directors in the state of New Hampshire, right? That's where I live, in New Hampshire, and wrote them all letters. No one answered. I called everyone. No one took the call. Everybody was in a meeting, guys, all like 32 of them. They were all in meetings, which is just like, pass her through. And I emailed them all and I didn't get any answers. And so my mom kept saying, why don't you just be a school psychologist or a school counselor and just do that? And I was like, because I don't want to, right? So when I think of a strong-willed kid, right, I don't usually call them strong-willed. I called this workshop strong-willed so you knew what temperament I was talking about. Right, if I have like other language for it, right, I usually call them natural born leaders, or they're determined, they're going to change the world. I was determined. I'm like, I am doing this. I am going to do this for myself. And this is what I want to do. And 9 years later, I'm doing it and it's growing. And people, right, it's like amazing to me that I work with people in Australia and I work with people in Egypt, and like all that stuff's really cool to me. And I wouldn't have had the chance to do that, I don't think, if I just gave up on it. But I'm determined. I'm a boundary jumper and a rule breaker. So I see stuff in my way and I jump over it. And I'm an outside the box thinker, as you know, for a lot of you know me and know that that's the case with me. And I am fast paced. So as I checked this out, I was like, oh my gosh, I am so strong-willed, right? I have that temperament. So so before I start, in my job, in my profession, I often see the strong-willed temperament, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, and it was very surprising to me when it kept happening. I kept seeing the pattern that the strong-willed temperament gets confused with, you ready? Really super anxious kids. And that's not usually what you would think. But when you're really super anxious and you stuff it and you stuff it and you stuff it and stuff it, and then at some point it explodes, it looks like a strong will. And so, so because of that, you can't put the strong-willed strategies in that toolbox and the anxious kid toolbox. They're totally different strategies. So when we look at, right, human behavior is a pattern. When we look at it, we have to make sure that we are knowing the temperament, knowing the kid. So if the kid is 5 or older, we can do this assessment with them. I've done the assessment for myself 20 times. I do come out strong-willed now. I come out determined and dominant and direct. This is also, you could also do it for self-reflection, right? If you are strong-willed and you teach strong-willed kids, it's really tricky because you fight over power. We're going to learn about that as we go. But you go to discoveryreport.com. You can buy the child one. That's up to age 12-ish to 18 is the teen one. You could buy the adult one. And if we're doing it with the child, we're not going to influence their answers, right? So it's the kid one is 24 questions and there's 4 robots in each question. They're going to pick the one just like them, and then they're going to pick the one not like them at all ever. And I think that this assessment's really important so you don't have the anxious kid. So a lot of times they're like, this kid is strong-willed, and it happens to be the behavior of the adults that are making the child strong-willed. It's not actually the child's temperament. So we want to make sure that we have set up a toolbox for these kids appropriate for them. Right? So my toolbox looked different before I was 37. Now that I'm 44, my toolbox is much different now because I'm like, oh, because I know myself better. When I used to toot my own horn because I thought I knew myself really well. Up until I was 37, I was like, I have pretty good self-reflection. It's not true, guys. It's not true. I didn't have good self-reflection, and I thought I did, and I do not. I do now, which is great. So you can do this this assessment, and then there's additional. You can also make sure you write down the answers, because if you have a 6-year-old that is doing it, and a strong-willed temperament is very fast, so they might get the first 5 and then be like, oh, I want to break, and then to try to get a strong-willed kid to do something they don't want to do, kind of tricky. So then until you press send report, it doesn't save the answers, which is really, really unfortunate. And you don't want to have to start over. So make sure you don't influence their answers. So if they pick bot 2, you don't want to say, really, bot 2, are you sure? Are you sure that's you? I don't see you that way at all. Because it's them taking it. Sometimes the challenging behavior is because the way you see the kid is not the way the kid sees themselves. And that can be the biggest piece. If you get nothing out of it, you'd be like, oh, well, that's how I see you. Or, oh, interesting. I don't see you like that at all. Right? I have a lot of parents who talk about their children and then they take the assessment. And I was like, that's not at all what the parent told me. Or, wow, the parent was right on. They totally get the kid, right? And so sometimes it's a self-reflection piece, and sometimes it's, okay, this kid is seriously strong-willed. And then those 3 books can help you figure out where to go from, right? A lot of people want articles and books to read to follow up. You can always send me, if you have a kid and you have a question and you fill out the report, you can always send me the report. Of course, it all has to be confidential, but you can send me the report so I can say, yep, that's the strong-willed temperament. So when you do this, the strong-willed temperament has a D in it. It's the DISC model, and it's the D. that would come up. So mine used to be an I and an S, and then it was an I, an S, and a D, and then it was an I, a D, and an S, and now it's a D, an I, and an S. So my D, as I got older, went boop, 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 and I was like, bang. And which I think is obvious. Like, I think the people who don't know me have never done one of these with me before, probably like, huh, I can't believe she didn't know she was intense. That's interesting. Huh, because that's the way I roll. All right, so here we go. This one's hard. We're going to shake it out. This is hard, 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 hard. So strong-willed children tend to care less about the prize and the punishment. They don't, these systems give all the power and control to the adult. I decide when you get a point, when you get a prize, when you get a punishment, and they're motivated by challenge, choice, and control, which we're going to talk about as we go. They're motivated by challenge, choice, and control. So if you take all their power away, they will show you how powerful they are. So when we are having a hard time, we tend to dig our heels in and hoard the power. Almost every adult does it. I sometimes catch myself doing it and I know not to, but that is like a survival behavior for us. But when we do it with a strong-willed kid, they say, oh yeah, and they'll match you and then up you, right? Like a poker game. I don't play poker, but it's like I match you and then I raise you or whatever. They're always going to raise you. So they're not motivated by keeping you happy or content. Do you know how many classrooms I've been to? One of them, the rule was, there were all these rules. The first 4 were stinky rules. I didn't like any of them. But the 5th one was keep your dear teacher happy. First of all, there is a temperament that would follow that rule. It is the one that also could be diagnosed with anxiety. So it's a big no-no. That's a terrible rule. But now the thing is that rule isn't up as much anymore. Now we have that, I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's a stuffed animal octopus and it has a smiley face and it flips in itself and it flips in and then it has a sad face. And so now the teachers put it on the desk and you have to keep the octopus happy. Well, guess what? Who's the octopus really? The teacher, right? So we're not keeping the teacher happy. And there are some kids who will do that. It doesn't mean that it's a strength-based or a love-based strategy. That's still fear-based. And we're not having children be responsible for our emotions. We're not having a hard time being responsible for their own emotions, right? They need to co-regulate with us. And this temperament especially, it's just not going to work. They're just going to be like, what? Keep you happy? And they read through it quickly. So that's out. And when we set up these, they will see them as games and they'll show you that they can win the game at all costs. They're like, oh, is this like right? They're competitive by nature. And they're like, oh, I know how to do this. And they'll figure out how to win the game. It is not the way you think to win, but whatever they think the winning of the game is, they'll do it. So be careful. So we have to trash all the stickers. Here's my beautiful sticker chart. This is this is a Pinterest one. Don't go, guys, please promise me. Okay, we have to shake this one out too. Do not go to Pinterest and look up behavior management strategies or classroom management strategies. If you're going there and looking them up and printing something and laminating something and sparklifying something, you're doing it wrong. And I know that's what we're taught. I understand. I did it too. I get it. But we're doing it wrong, especially for this temperament. Stickers, the problem is this kid will do it like a couple things for a sticker until he realizes, well, this is dumb. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. But now the adult will try to chase that high they got when the child finally listened. And they're like, oh my gosh, he listened. It worked. It worked. This is the miracle cure. It worked. And then what happens? Oh, it doesn't work anymore. So then we try to up things, and the bigger the stickers, or we try to give more stickers, or we try to get, you get more stickers for less things. So we're trying to like find that balance so it starts again. They realize they're not going to win the game, so they change the rules. But guess what? They did not tell you what the new rules were. So you're trying to like figure it out, and they think that's hysterical. They're like, oh, just as there are kids who don't like that energy of like, oh my gosh, my temperament loves it. We love that energy. I will sometimes go head to head and like play fight with my husband about who's right. And he's like, you know that I am right. I was like, I know. He's like, then why do you do that? I was like, oh, I just like to see it like that. He hates it. But I like that energy and the like exuberance and the challenge. I did not marry a D, so he doesn't like it. All right, we're also getting rid of these. And these colors give me PTSD now, guys. I can't even red, yellow, and green. If you're like, Meg, what about this strategy? Know that I get about 10 of those a day. Meg, what do you think about this strategy? And the minute I click it, if it's color coded with red, yellow, and green, I was like, I don't really have to look at it. It's a no for me. Because color coded usually means there's a clip or a sticker or a chart or a whatever. And this is out, right? We're not doing any of this stuff. These things are made for the strong-willed kid. We don't know what else to do. So we make these things. And guess what? First of all, you wouldn't want to take a strong-willed kid's recess away. They need to be outside. They need to run. They need fresh air. They are movers and shakers, and to make them sit still and pay attention, which is actually physiologically impossible for the brain to do. Right? So this one says, I'm having a great day. I owe 10 minutes of recess. I owe 20 minutes in getting a note home. Nope. Out. And you want the kid to care when he goes from here and then he go to yellow and go to red. He doesn't care. This one, what's the game? How fast can I get from ready to learn to parent contact and sent out of the classroom to the principal's office? How fast can I do that? How many checks on the board do I need before I get in trouble and then go to a buddy room? I don't like buddy rooms either. Do we know what buddy rooms are? Someone's having a hard time. So the teacher has had enough. So they send the kid to another room, another classroom with another teacher. I think like, I'm not sure the other teacher wants the kid. And sometimes it's the other teacher who has a good relationship with that kid. And my solution is then put the kid in that class. Oh, no, we can't do that. I'm like, oh my, well then buddy rooms are just, because then the kid goes in dysregulated. You don't know the whole story. That teacher's trying to help because they're the buddy room, but they're also trying to do work with their kids who are all regulated, and now the other kids are dysregulated. And how are you going to explain to the parents that kid's not actually even in the class, but the kids couldn't complete the work? Like, I don't know how that went around a table of teachers and they thought, you know what? Let's do a buddy room. I can't handle them. I'm going to give them to Sheila. Right? Like, no thanks. What else? It says, so we're trashing all the stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips. It does not work for this temperament. I don't know how many schools I've been to or how many homes. I'm not usually the first one they go to. They get or go to the sticker chart. Someone with a strong-willed temperament, almost every adult with a strong-willed temperament has tried some sort of chart or something or anything. Sheila, I would give them to you because you're good with hard kids, but you probably don't want them. I mean, if you had a whole classroom of kids, you do because you have the job in your school where you get them. But if I'm a fourth grade teacher and my kids are doing what they have to do, and I'm like, yeah, and then the other kid comes in, one time I get it, over and over and over. That's really hard to regulate the kid in your class. And it's a surprise for you. You're allowed to be surprised and frustrated that that happened. Right? Like, oh, okay. But I always say that when I am the behavior person, I'm not usually the first one. There's a lot in schools and in homes. I'm usually the second one. And everybody has tried, almost everybody has tried the sticker, ticket, token, point, and clip system. They've even tried target runs. They've even done, if you can behave all day, we'll go to Target after school. All these things have happened with this temperament. And I always say there's one strategy, because when I come in, everybody wants me to have the magic pixie dust. I sprinkle it on the kids and I fix them. Well, right, that's the unidirectional approach to relationships. We want a transformational approach to relationships. So we don't want that side, right? I'm not a mechanic where they're broken, I fix them. I am a gardener and I'm going to plant the seed and cultivate and influence their growth. But I always say when I go in, they want me to change the kid. And I was like, okay, but I'm here 2 hours. I'm going to write notes. I promise you it won't be all the way better in 2 hours. It might not be all the way better in the year you have them. And that's the problem, is it's time and patience. With this kid, it's a lot of time and a lot of patience. And I don't know how to make it easier for you. And so I joke about, there is a strategy we can use and it works 90% of the time. And then I have you all guess. Nobody guesses because they're all like, always choose love-based strategies because teachers are love-based and they're wonderful. And then I was like, it's fear-based. So then they say ignore. And I said, no, if you do it, you're going to get fired. And then they have no idea. So I end up saying it's hitting the kid. And everybody gives me the big saucer eyes like, what? We can't hit the kid. And I was like, I know. But even if you said, you know what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to use that strategy. And I was like, but I said it works for 90% of the kids. Who are the 10%, guys? This temperament. In the world, there's 10% of this temperament. Boys, girls, adults, kids. When you look at the research, the D temperament, that determined strong-willed temperament, is 10% of our population. So when I say it works for 90% of the kids, it does not work for the strong-willed kids because they will hit back. They will. I had a little girl one time. She was little. She was like 4. And she was so mad. She missed her mom and she was climbing shelves. And I said, oh, I know you want to climb the shelf. I know that is what you want to do. And I'm like positive that is a rule that you're not allowed to climb the shelves. I've been to a lot of schools and it's always been a rule that you can't climb the shelf. And she called me a really bad word, because we're recorded. I won't say what the really bad word is. And a really bad word. And I thought, if I chose physical punishment, which of course I would never do, but if I chose physical punishment, what would she do? Stop? No, she's 10% of the population. She would have turned around and hit me back harder, and then chased me, and then threw stuff at me, and then got scissors, or I don't know. It wouldn't have stopped. She would have just kept going. So physical punishment for this temperament is out too. I think it should be out for all temperaments. Unfortunately, I've seen in, not so much in schools, but in homes, I've seen physical punishment used on a strong-willed kid because they're trying to break the will of the kid, right? I'm trying to put out their fire. We never want to put out their fire because sometimes even with the strong-willed kid, it has once it's out, it could be out for good forever. And remember, you have to have positive self-esteem to get to need to know and understand, right? In Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That last authentic need is self-esteem. If you're struggling at self-esteem because your fire's out, it's really hard to then be really excited about learning, because that links to self-esteem, right? Learning is the first growth need in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I have that workshop. If anybody's interested, you can ask me where to find it. So there's so many books, and I've read a lot of them, and most of the ones I've read have what in it? It has some sort of, I read one where I was loving it, and then they said, and when all else fails, spank them. And I was like, oh man, I was like really into this book. And then, but there's always a reward system. There's always a punishment. There's always a timeout where there's a strong-willed kid and he sits in timeout, and then he has to have 50% of his body on the timeout chair for it to count. And if not, then he has to stay for 7 minutes with 50% of his body. And I'm like, what? I was like, I don't understand. Like, that strong-willed kid is not going to sit in timeout and have me like this watching him. No. But that's why when I advertised for this, I said, I know you guys have read every book, you've read every article, you've tried every strategy, because we try them all and we just keep pulling out of our toolbox. And sometimes we look in our toolbox, it's either empty or we have the physical punishment one left. And we're like, oh man, because a lot of the books steer us in the wrong direction. So what do we do? So what should we do with these kids? First of all, know that you are going to Roger Rabbit, you know Roger Rabbit, 1990, right? The running man is forward, Roger Rabbit's backwards. You're going to Roger Rabbit your way out of power struggles. You are going to try your hardest. You ready? This is going to be hard. You have to shake it out. Try your hardest and not fight over eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom, or talking. Why? Who can control those things? Me? Can I make someone go to the bathroom? No, even if I really want you to, because we're going on a long road trip and I know you're going to ask down the street and there's not going to be a bathroom. You really just need to go before we leave. Sorry, it's not. You can want it with all your being. You can wish to whoever you believe in a higher being. You can do it with your whole body and soul. Only the child can control those things. So you're going to have to, first of all, you have to flip your brain to that. You have to flip your brain to, I can't make kids do those 4 things. Masks are also hard. Strong-willed kids have a really hard time. If they're strong-willed and they have some sort of sensory or it's hot, or I don't know how you keep a kid's mask on either, because they usually pull it down off their nose or down on their chin. Pull up your mask, and they might humor you and do it in front of you. And then they pull it. I've seen it so many times, and the kids do this. And then they walk with me and take it off again. And I'm like, oh man, nuts. So you got to flip your brain to you can't make those things happen. The minute you push a kid into a corner and try to make him do that, know that they'll come out, they're caged bear, they'll come out fighting. That's where a lot of kids pee and poop their pants. That's where a lot of kids say you're sorry to your sister right now. And they just look at you, or sorry, and it sounds fake, right? That's when they'll maybe fly out, I'm not eating. Okay, and we'll get to what we do, right? Then we go into natural and logical consequences. We'll get there. The temperament tends to be competitive, so they see a power struggle as a game. They know the rules of the game, and they know things like you can't hit, they can. They know that what's the worst that can happen? They'll send me home. I'd rather be at home, or I'll go to the principal. I like him better than my teacher, right? So we can start throwing threats out. I don't even know what threat you could give a strong-willed kid that they'd be like, oh, I mean, maybe they're scared of you calling their mom, but maybe it's because they get hurt at home. And then that's a whole different story. That's happened a lot. Like, I'm going to call your mother, and the kid like was really quiet and sat back down. I was like, oh, there's more to that story, because he's given every adult in this building a hard time. And then the minute you're going to call dad or mom, he clams up. And I was like, oh, I said, we better watch out if he's getting hurt at home. And then if we start reporting things back, is he getting right? Is this child getting hurt? They see obstacles that you set in front of them for the power struggle, and they'll overcome them and make sure they're successful. Right? They don't, you'll put up things like you have to do this first and then this. First and then's really hard for them, and they'll be like, nah. Then they just, right, I have a lot of parents who think, okay, so what's going to happen? I'm going to take away their favorite bunny and I'm going to put it on the fridge. And every other temperament's like, oh my gosh, that's my bunny and I want my bunny and I'm so sad without my bunny and I did. This temperament's like, oh, I hate that bunny dead to me. Whether they truly think that or not, you think they think it, because they just don't care anymore. And they're like, oh, what else are you going to do? And so you've taken away all the iPads, you've taken away all the fun things. You're like, we're not going to here anymore. We're not. And the kid, and it's so frustrating, because as an adult, the kid just doesn't look like they care. But while we're doing that, we're putting out their fire. But we want them to like be upset about it. But remember, they're not being happy for you. They're not, right? Like, can you just be happy? They'll be sad just to spite you. Know that these kids are the ones that change the world. They're going to see those obstacles. And I have a lot of parents when I taught kindergarten that said, I said, don't you worry, when they're 25, they're going to change the world. It's going to be awesome and amazing and wonderful. And almost every parent's like, if they make it that long, because, right. It's like, I want to scratch my eyeballs out. And if you're an adult with the same temperament, you will fight over power. So if you are an adult that is strong-willed and you have a kid that is strong-willed, sometimes we give birth to ourselves, then we have to acquiesce. We have to figure out how to adjust. We have to do self-reflection, because if we don't, we're going to fight over power. It's going to be really hard. And now I'm trying to figure out how to win the game, and my child's trying to figure out how to win the game, and we're both up here, and it's going to get dangerous because we throw caution to the wind when we want to win the game. I know that because I have that temperament. So make sure, right? If an adult might say, I'm the adult in this house, what I say goes. I remember my dad used to say that. My dad doesn't even have this temperament. And I thought to myself, who died and made you king? Like, right, even really little, I thought, he's not the boss in this house. My mom was the boss of the house. Don't tell my dad, but my mom was the boss. If you said, I'm going to call your father, I was like, yeah, call my father. Don't call my mother. My mother has D tendencies. So, okay, here's another one. Another strategy. So stay out of power struggles. Okay, got it? Put that in the toolbox for this kid. Stay out of power struggles. And you're going to find other ways to do that as well. This is one way. Preferential language. So a kid will put, I don't know, applesauce in your face like this and go, open it. And you're like, and we usually go into this big dissertation about manners. And we talk for like 3 hours about manners, and we turn into the Charlie Brown teacher with the Argyle socks and the orthopedic shoes. And all the kid hears is wah, 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 wah. So he's going to put it in your face, open it. I hear you best when you say, could you please open my applesauce? You're then going to open the applesauce and give it to him. Why won't you have him repeat it? Because you've already flipped your brain, right? You can't make him talk. And what are you going to do? Not open his applesauce? No, then he realizes, oh, she opened my applesauce anyway. I didn't really have to say it. Because a strong-willed teacher won't open the applesauce, but then again, right, you go like this. So, and you're not going to stand there with your arms folded and wait for him to ask, or if you say, it's time for you to go to the bathroom. And just look at him. What do you think a strong-willed kid's going to do? No. Oh, or pee in his pants in front of you. Like right now? Okay. So we have to be really careful with, we say, I hear you best when you say, could you please open my applesauce? I hear you best when, could you say, could you please tie my shoe? Over and over and over and over and over and over until you want to poke your eyeballs out. Remember, time and patience. It's even longer with this temperament. Then, say 4 months later, every lunch, they've come up to you and put that in your face. Open it. And you've said, I hear you best when you say, could you please open my applesauce? You open it and you give it back 4 months, every day for 4 months. And you're thinking, okay, it's probably about time. So then he comes up, open it. You know how I hear you best. Done. Stop talking, walk away. He will either come up and talk to and ask you, oh, could you please open my applesauce? Or he won't have it open, or he'll figure out a new way. The natural consequence is the applesauce is not being opened by you. And know that applesauce is not that it's a bad example. I can see a strong-willed kid taking the spoon. Can you see it right now? And going like this, right in the applesauce, and it getting all over the place. But then the consequence is what? You have to clean up the applesauce, and you have to miss playtime because you're cleaning up the applesauce. And you're not allowed to do anything else until the applesauce is cleaned up. But you also have to be like, oh, that's an inventive way to open applesauce. Huh, I didn't think of that way. I guess you won't be asking me anymore. Right, and then you just kind of turn and walk away. Watch your language. So here you go. These are going to come out of your vocabulary. It's going to be really hard. Don't do them all at once. You'll it'll be like a diet. You'll be off the diet by tomorrow. No, stop, don't, can, and wait. No and stop is reserved for when they're going to be hurt. Like when they're running into the road. And you have to say, no, stop right now. And they're like, oh, what's happening? But this kid, because they are challenging, get no and stop often. So no and stop is just like everyday words. So they're not aware of when it's like, oh, I really should stop now because it's a dangerous situation. Don't and can't, it's just a challenge for them. Don't do that or you can't do that. Oh, I'll show you. I can certainly do that. I can too. I will. And wait, know that they're fast paced, so waiting is really hard. I still have a hard time waiting. My son said the other day to me, Mommy, when are we ever going to go to Disney World? And I was like, the day there are no lines. That's when we're going. Because I can't wait. Are you kidding? Disney World, you like wait outside for an hour and then you get into the building and you think the ride's starting and what happens? It's the thing in the building. And I'm like, and then sometimes it's another one. And I was like, oh, I can't. I'm competitive where I'm in the grocery store line and I'm losing the grocery store race that only I'm in because the other person, I thought that my line was shorter, but the other person's line was shorter and they're going to win the grocery race and be done first before me. And I was like, go. And I was like, I should have picked the other line. And I know when I get in the grocery store line, still at 44 years old, I have to do this. It doesn't matter. It's okay. It's only going to be a couple minutes longer if I picked the wrong line to win the grocery store race. I have to like put my brain there. So like I'm 44, so I figured out how to do that. A 3-year-old doesn't know. The 3-year-old always wants to be what? Line leader. And if they are not line leader, that does not go well. It's okay. So we get preferential language. Remember, we can't make them talk. We often say instead of preferential language, you say, use your words. These kids have colorful language. You should probably tell them what words to use. Right? I hear you best when you say, tell them what it is and come up with, I'm sure everybody has a strong-willed kid right now in their head. Think of the things they ask all the time, and then you're always talking to them about if you do the manners dissertation. Think of them like 3, 4, or 5 answers you could give back right away. I hear you best when, and then have it ready. And then just be prepared for over and over and over and over and over. And I know that all these strategies are going to take a long time, and I know you want it to be different. And I probably should have started that way. I probably did start a little bit that way. It's not shorter or easier. It's only longer. So natural consequences. So we are not stepping in when it's a minor transgression or when it's like, I'm not going to wear my coat outside. Okay, you're going to be cold. You might want to bring it. I'm not bringing it. All right. And so they either go outside and it is cold and they are cold and they think, oh, she was right. I should have brought my coat. I'm going to do that next time. Or I don't bring my coat. I run all over the place at recess because that's the kind of kid I am and I'm hot. So I didn't need my coat in the first place. So you didn't have to fight. The thing is a lot of people say, well, what happens when it's like so cold outside? Then you have indoor recess. You're not outside. What if they get frostbite? You should probably talk to the director or principal because they shouldn't make you go outside when it's that cold. But I'm not going to eat my dinner. I don't like hot dogs, but they liked hot dogs yesterday. Well, that's what's for dinner. So it could be hot dogs or you can either have one other thing. So I have a friend who's like, you can have a cereal with bananas. That's always another choice. Or hot dogs is for dinner. I don't want hot dogs. We will make sure we give you a great breakfast. Right? It's got to be short. It's got to be sweet. And you got to say it so there's no, oh, buddy, you don't like hot dogs? Darn. But that's what's for dinner. That he sees or she sees right through that. Has to be, and we're going to get there. I think it's next. Is it next? Nope, not yet. Right, we have to be firm and neutral, but we're going to get there. So they stay up late. I'm not going to bed. I'm staying up late. They sneak video games, well, then you're tired and you're going to school, and regardless of if you're tired or not, right? Step in, natural consequences, we have to step in when it is, when physical and emotional safety is involved. So consequences might not happen right away. We want them to happen right away. Waiting for them to happen is hard but necessary. So sometimes I had a little boy one time who spit on the floor and he was going to clean it up. And everybody wanted him to do it right then, but you could see him escalating. And I thought, okay, we'll get there. So I just took a paper towel and I put it over so no one like slipped or fell on it or whatever. And people were looking at me like, I can't believe you didn't make him clean it up. And I was like, we'll get there. And it was about 15 minutes later that he had the paper towel and went and cleaned it up. Because he went into the classroom and started to play. And I said, oh, bud, you can't play until you go and clean up the spit out in the hallway. So then he left there and went to go play somewhere else. He said, oh yeah, I can't let you play there either. It's the spit in the hallway. And so then he just sat and was like, I'm not cleaning it up. Right? And we don't answer that. We don't, because I'm not cleaning it up is what? He's trying to get me to do what? Go in a power struggle, right? Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yeah. So I'm not cleaning it up. Oh, sound mad about it. That's it. One sentence. Didn't go too far, but I also didn't sit and watch him. And then he went to play somewhere else. He stopped in the next place and he looked at me and he goes, oh, fine, I'll clean it up so I could just play already. Okay. And then people say things like, but you're an extra person. I know. That's why I say it's not easy, because that's still the strategy. Even though you're one person and there's 20 something kids, I am very vocal about when people are like, okay, well, what happens when I have 25 kids and this kid's doing this? Well, that's a terrible position to put a teacher in. I choose this kid or the other 24 kids. It's a terrible position. I think every classroom should always have somebody to help them, or somebody to get an admin or get a counselor or something to help. There should never be a teacher that has to choose between one kid and 24 kids. That's just really unfair. And now is especially hard. Again, I can't make it easier. Now is especially hard because all the teachers in Paris are on a boat somewhere with the toner that all the schools need for their photocopiers. I don't know where any of that is, but they're all gone out into the ocean or something. Strong-willed children will test boundaries. So you set new rules, get ready for, like, if I'm a mom and I say, you know what, in this house now, dinner is dinner. I'm not doing any more making your own food. It's starting tomorrow night. I just want to give you a warning. It's not happening anymore. Know that they won't just acquiesce tomorrow night. Don't put your brain there. They're going to fight you. They'll be like, ooh, right? You gave them to tomorrow night to give them a transition warning, which is great. But that also gives them time to think of the new rules to the game that you don't know. Right? So just be ready for it. They are motivated. Oh gosh, how many more of these do we have? Okay, talk fast, Meg, talk fast. I knew I should have made it an hour and a half. I almost made it an hour and a half and I didn't. So they're motivated by challenge, choice, and control. So they want to win and they will go to great lengths and extents to make sure that they win. In games, right? But we have to teach them to be good winners or losers. They have a harder time being good losers and they have a harder time being good winners. So that is a skill, right? If we have to teach a skill, meet a need, being a good winner, loser. If you lose, you still have to stand in line and slap hands, right? They'll turn anything into the game. They want to be first, best, fastest. Remember that with really little kids. They want to be first, best, fastest. They want to be line leader. And when it's not their turn to be line leader, what happens? Oh, right. You love to be the leader. You know what? I have a couple ways you could be the leader today. Let's get outside and I'll tell you. Right? You kind of tricked them into getting outside. But you've also now validated that they want to be line leader because they want to be first, best, fastest. In our heads, we're thinking, dude, if you're second in line, you get out 0.0001 seconds after the line leader. It doesn't matter. It matters to them. It matters to them. Choice. So watch your okays. You ready for this? This is a good strategy. Make sure this should be in your toolbox all the time for all kids. So, hey, bud, it's time for you to go to the bathroom now, okay? What did I just give? A choice. And what happened? I use the bathroom. Can I make him go? And if I said, okay, I got to take his answer. He's probably going to say no. We did it to be nice because we think he's going to say, oh, yeah, we're going outside. That makes total sense. I should totally go to the bathroom right now. You're right. Good idea, Miss Meg. That's not what's going to happen. Watch your okays because we'll do an adult directive and then it becomes a question. And your choices should be within parameters, right? Do you want this, or this for dinner? Or do you want this or this for dinner? It can't be like, what do you want for dinner? That's too wide open. And the choices should be ones that you're okay with. Give him 3 choices and then he could pick any of the 3, but all 3 choices are fine. And if they say, I don't want one of those choices, firm and neutral, those are the choices for tonight. I'll give you a minute to think about it. Then you're gonna walk away and give them a minute. That's the part that's hard, right? Because you want it to just be right now. Control, when adults, like I said, we tend to hoard power and control. We have to share it. Know that when we share it, we have to hold tight to our part that we still have left, because they will end up taking our part as well. So make sure you're keeping your part and they're keeping their part, and you don't give yours up. Physical outlets, these kids are external and physically external in emotion, meaning they hit, kick, punch, run, bite, spit, right? They use their hands, feet, and mouth. Know that you can't. So kids who elope from the classroom, I don't know why they call it that, in public schools, they elope from the classroom, they're using their what? Their feet. But then we teach these kids to take deep breaths. We say you can't run away, you can't use your feet, because that's not safe, which it's not. But now I'm going to replace the feet with the mouth. You want to replace the feet with the feet. If he's a kid who swears at you or spits, you might do deep breaths. Probably though, with deep breaths with this temperament, you also have to like stomp feet and take deep breaths, or pound or punch with deep breaths, punch like a pillow or something, because they're usually more external than that. They tend to go from 0 to 60 really fast. I always say that I always argue that they go from they go from 40 to 60 fast. We missed 0 to 40. What were the ticks from 0 to 40 that got them angry and upset? And then 40 to 60 exploded. You got to find the ticks from 0 to 40. Oh my gosh, we're gonna make it, guys. I will statements. This is part of your is everybody muted? Oh, I thought I could hear myself again. It's bad enough you guys have to hear me. So I will statement. So when you walk on the road, I will put you back on the grass. I will help you back on the grass. Not if you walk on the road, because what's a strong-willed kid gonna think of that? If you walk on the road, I will help you back on the grass. It's a challenge for them, right? Like, and they'll start to put their little toe like, beep, 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 like this road right here. You don't want me to step on this road? And that needs to be like you mean business. When you stand in the road, I will help you back on the grass. Right? It's short, it's sweet, but it has to be, it's not yelling, but there's not a lot of like, oh, I wonder if she's actually going to put me back on the grass, right? When you run in the parking lot, I will hold your hand. There's no, when you run in the parking lot, I will have to hold your hand. The have to's not needed. Because I could see the kid saying, well, you don't have to do anything. That's what they're going to come back at you with. So when you run in the parking lot, I will hold your hand. When your emotions get big, it will help you find an outlet. That's a good one because these kids need an outlet, right? They're not a stuffer inner. They don't internalize. When you are mad, sad, or afraid, right? Those are the tricky emotions for kids under the age of 6. Well, everybody, but those are the ones we should be talking about with kids under the age of 6. I will help you find a place to take a break. Here's the firm and neutral part, guys. So this is what you're going to say. This is where you would not say it to the kid with anxiety, because this would be really damaging to that kid. That's why you do the assessment first to know who the kid is, or be pretty sure that there's no anxiety piece there. Because when the child does something, right, it was like that little boy that needed to clean up the spit. I could have said, if you don't like the outcome, bud, make a different choice. If you don't want to miss all the playtime because you have to clean up your spit, don't spit. I just said this to parents the other day, and the mom texted me and said, you know what? I've heard my husband say, if you don't like the outcome, make a different choice 4 times since we got off the phone. And the little boy gets it. It's only 2 days in, and the little boy's like, oh, that's been said to me enough. And it's short and sweet. Yeah, talk like you mean it. This temperament is skilled at seeing your hesitation or the weakness in your voice, or the like if your voice has fluff. Like, oh, but if you don't like the outcome, well, maybe if you just made a different choice. They see that like, she doesn't mean that, right? Sturdy leader. So a sturdy leader means, anybody know Dr. Becky? Oh my gosh, she's amazing. If you don't know her, write her down. She's on Facebook. Dr. Becky Goodenside. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So I stole sturdy leader from her, but I will be the adult that falls through. So if I say things, you have to follow through with this kid. Otherwise, the tantrum's gonna get longer, the asking's gonna get longer, the behavior's gonna get longer. I'm gonna say what I mean. I'm gonna make decisions even when they're hard and when the child doesn't want me to make that decision. I'm still going to do it. Even if I know that the tantrum is gonna happen, that the challenging behavior is gonna happen, I have to be the person in this relationship right now that is going to take charge. Not all of it, right? But these kids also need boundaries and sturdy leaders. And we tend to acquiesce to these kids, and there's so many teachers and parents that are like walking on eggshells. And like I don't want to make him mad. What if we have to sort of flip our brain to, nope, I get some power in this house too. Right? Again, make sure we don't take it all. Yep, watch that power struggle, because firm and neutral, they will try to get you in that power struggle again. And get to the point. You don't have very long before they check out. Okay. This is if you were a teacher and you have them in your classroom, so let them follow their own lead. They have ideas and dreams, start bringing them into the classroom and let them lead stuff. They like to learn independently. Group work is harder for them because they're fast. And they want it done their own way. So having a partner, that's a lack of skill. It has to happen, but if you want their best work, it's probably done independently. Let them teach what they learned. Listen to this part. Stay close, because they tend to run over people's emotions and they miss the social cues. So, right, they'll want to like, but I want to lead circle, or I want to lead an art activity. You can, but don't go too far, because there's a lot of skills that need to be taught there. Let them be in charge of something, especially if that's their love language, right? They want to be in charge of something. It's the power and control piece. Make sure you don't go too far, because they need your help with that. Offer choices within parameters, like we said, right? Like these kids, first you have to do this, then you have to do this. Hey, bud, you know, you could either read or you could write a story. Those are the 2 things you could do right now. They like to have those choices. They like debates, problem solving, contest games, independent projects, and building models. So little kids all the way to adults, I've seen them love those things. And little kids, they like blocks, woodworking, and outside play. Outside play, because they don't bounce off the walls. Outside. Yay! And, well, guys, we're going to do it. My match game. So, my match game is a game. And I think I've done it before with some of you, but the match game is 1 is okay, 2 is good, 3 is great. It is also for sale on my website, Instagram, and Facebook. It also has a Google Doc with all the directions and information. And if you're in a public school, you need the data to, right? If you've trashed the stickers, tickets, tokens, points, and clips, and you're moving into something else, this can be the data. So 1 is okay, 2 is good, 3 is great. Put your hands behind your back. You're always going to go a smidgen after the kids so they don't, because the point is to match. You can't be set. You can't be first because they'll just match you, right? So you go, okay, but so how do you think circle was today? Remember, we were trying to focus on not speaking out and not changing your spot 12 times, right? Maybe that's something that you're working on. So you go 1, 2, 3, match. And I pick a 2 and he picks a 3. Know that they're almost always going to pick a 3 for the first parts because they want to win. They're competitive. And I say, hey, buddy, how come you picked a 3? And he goes, because I thought I was great and wonderful. And I even was going to get up a couple times. And I didn't. I stayed sitting down. And I said, oh, I gave you a 2 because in my head, I thought, he got up a lot at circle. And I know that you were working on it, but you know what? I didn't know that you stayed seated a couple times. And that's why you don't do any, right? That's why you have to have the conversation. So right in the Google Docs, you would put, I got a 2, he got a 3. This is what we wrote. And then it's self-reflection and self-regulation. A lot of people say, well, what if they lie? They can lie if they want. They know they're lying. You got to get through the part, right? So, right, it also builds empathy, how to listen to voice tone and watch for body language. They miss that piece because they're task-oriented first and they're fast-paced. How to listen more intently to others, raise their sensitivity level, and help them slow down. So that is the premise of the game. But I built a whole part for you to, I didn't, I had a magic website man do it because I don't know how to do that. But he did a whole Google Docs. So you can like, so someone's like, so you're not using stickers? And you're like, no, because they don't work. Well, what are you using then? Well, I'm using this and look at how much growth, right? So I did it. I know we're over, guys, but so I did it with a kid, and instead of 1, 2, and 3, because I hadn't done the Google Docs yet, I did on a piece of paper. Oh, I can't see if you can see. Hold on. My face isn't. Can you see? So, okay, good and great. And he had to circle 1, and I had to circle 1, and then we folded our paper together. Right? We folded our paper together, and then we went 1, 2, 3, match. So there's 48 of these. He matched 36 times. He didn't match 12 times. So I was at an IEP meeting where they wanted to take the stuff he wanted away so then he could earn it back, right? Pretty typical behavior strategy. And I said, how about we try the match game? And they said, we'll try that after. Well, I'm not gonna do the typical behavior strategy because I know it's not gonna work. So I did the match game first anyway, even though I probably wasn't supposed to. I ended up being the hero. And I said, but look at this. And then they wrote right on the back of all these is all what they wrote and what he had. And it changed from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. It was magic how much it changed. And he said, can I have the colored ones? I really want the ones that are colored with the gold stars. Those make me feel happy. Sure, dude. I will find the color printer and we will make sure. But I thought he matched 3 times more than he didn't match. And the dates are on the 12 ones he didn't match, and those were at the beginning. So then he figured out what he needed to be doing. They changed the expectations. They had 3 expectations. He was supposed to play the match game according to those 3 expectations. Then he figured those expectations out and they made 3 others. And he could self-reflect and self-regulate so much better at the end. Is it perfect? No. But these kids are always we don't want to change these kids into a different kid. They're always going to push the boundaries. They're always going to think outside the box. They're always going to want to be a leader. That's just who they are. So we have to make sure that we are doing all the things we talked about tonight. And just know, flip your brain to it doesn't get easier. There's no easy way out of this temperament. Every temperament has a challenge. And this one is that the power piece for us with them is really tricky. I know that's time, so you guys can go if you need to, but does anybody have any questions? I know it's a lot of information. A lot of people are like, I need a minute to focus. You can put them in, you can take yourself off mute, or you can put them in the chat, or you don't have to do anything. I always forget about the question piece. And sometimes I go and I'm like, oh, I didn't ask any questions. And then people email me later, I have a question. I was like, probably because I didn't ask at the end of the workshop. Sorry. Everybody have kids like this? Challenging kids? Is it helpful to know that it's not easy? It's not supposed to be easy. How many are adults like this? Do we have adults that have this strong will? Yeah, beep, beep. Me too. Yep. Okay, wait, I got some. Let's see. What would you do if your strong-willed child continues to use potty words? First of all, flip your brain to it's potty words are funny. And you're gonna gauge your reaction down. So if they're using potty words and you say, oh, or you get really mad about the potty words, remember we like that part. We like the, oh, I said poop and they got so angry. That was fun. They're trying with potty words are probably trying to be funny. Don't put them in the bathroom because they will just say the potty words in the bathroom. And then people ask me, then what do I do? Well, now you're in trouble because you told them to go in the bathroom and they're in the bathroom saying potty words. So they're doing exactly what you told them to do. So, and he is 4 years old. I think every boy ever who's 4-year-old uses potty words. I'm 44 and I still use potty words. And I think they're hysterical and funny. I learned how to put a straw in my armpit and make fart sounds. So, and I videoed that and posted it on social media. So I'm not sure that, I mean, so you have to find it funny. You have to teach him, redirect the humor. He will say, you're a poopy head. Yeah. So for me, potty words is not a big thing for me. So if he said to me, you're a poopy head, you can either go humor or you could say, my name is Megan. That's what I want you to call me. And then you have to stop talking and turn around and walk away. Don't stay there because he's going to keep calling you poopy head. But if he called me, we have a few that throw chairs. Oh, yep. That's because they're physically external. So they're using their hands. They're going to replace that behavior with their hands. It's going to take a while. My link didn't work. Oh, okay. So it feels like strong-willed kids want control, but boundaries from a sturdy leader at the same time. Is that yes. Yes, Sheila, that's right. They want control. But if we don't put boundaries, that means they stole all our control. Right? So we can't hoard it, but we also can't give it all away to them. So we have to make sure we keep some, and by keeping some, we're going to follow through. We're going to do the things I said. Running away and bolting. So they use their feet. Sometimes running away and bolting is because the environment is too chaotic for them. So you have to check that as well. If kids are running away from the environment, is it too loud? Does it smell bad? Is it too crowded? Or do they use their feet? And you can even say things like, you know what, buddy? You know what I've noticed about you? Is that when you're mad, you use your feet. And when you use your feet, you really want to run. Let's figure out how we can use that speed, but not be unsafe. I wonder if you can think of anything. And then you're just going to leave it. Complete refusal to do work. So refusal to do work is you're going to give them lots of choices. Lynn, email me. I have a long story about that one that probably will go too long, but you're going to want to give them more independence than we're probably giving them. But I can voice record a thing for you, Lynn, because that one, hold on, there's other, what does it say? Hitting or kicking either if they are mad or no apparent, well, there's always a reason. It says hitting or kicking either if they are mad or for no apparent reason. So there is a reason. We have to chase the why. How would you handle it? They're external. So I would start with, what, when you're mad, you hit. I've seen that about you. Huh? When you're mad, you can be mad. You can't hit when you're mad. When you're mad, you can. And then you're gonna replace with hitting or hitting arms, hands, or feet. And you're just gonna keep saying it and keep doing it. And if you have a co-teacher, you're gonna also have the co-teacher say the same thing. You're gonna pick 2 or 3. You can make fists, or you can come and ask to squeeze my finger, not pull my finger. That's a different thing. But if you do this, can everybody see? To see how my finger's sticking out the top? If you squeeze, that hurts. If my finger's inside and you go like this, it doesn't matter how hard. Now squeeze it as hard as you can. It doesn't hurt. Even kids with both hands squeeze so hard. And so you'll say, hey, bud, when you get mad, you hit. You know what? I have a secret. I have a secret for you. Come here. I'm just going to show you though, okay? And you're going to teach them about that. That actually saves, that's the one that my son used. One new message. I don't know how to get it. Where is it? Screaming at the top of their lungs when they don't get their way. Oh, yeah. So they use their mouth, right? We don't know. We can't do anything when they started screaming. When they start screaming, it's kind of over. You gotta keep yourself safe, others safe, and try to get them to a less embarrassing spot, probably. You are going to, what is happening? Chase the why are they screaming? Right? Are they screaming if they don't get their way? And they ask, so Lisa, they say, come up to you and say, can we have chicken nuggets for dinner? Oh, chicken nuggets for dinner. So first of all, you're not going to say no, because remember, you're taking that out of your vocabulary. Chicken nuggets for dinner. Tonight, we're having meatloaf. But I'm going to put chicken nuggets. I'm going to write it right here. And I think we're going to do that tomorrow night. And you're going to say it nice and slow. Very slow. And we're going to take no out of our vocabulary. They can still fall apart, but they're less likely. See, this is where it's hard, because screaming, what do you do with screaming? We got to figure out before they scream, right? And so start chicken nuggets for dinner. Oh, we're having meatloaf tonight. Hold on, get me a pencil and a paper. I'm going to write it down. What's today? Wednesday? Should we have it Friday or Saturday? See how I put the choices in? Do you want Friday or Saturday? No, I want it tonight. You know what? I would pick Friday. That's sooner. That's sooner than Saturday. Oh man, how many are you going to eat? Do you think should I buy another box? Do you think you're going to be so hungry for chicken nuggets on Friday that you're going to need to eat the whole box? And humor might get them out of it. They'll be like, the whole box? You'll be like, yeah, the whole box. But it has to be, we can't go at them with, no, we're not having chicken nuggets. It's a surprise for them. And the surprise is what makes it go, right? That's what makes them go from 40 to 60. So slow it down, incorporate humor, and take no out. And know that they still might scream. Don't flip your brain all the way to that's going to work perfectly. With this temperament, you could have the best strategy ever, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And sometimes know that sometimes it's the right strategy. If you've done some of the ones I talked about, and you're like, I already do those, know that it's just more time and patience. And I'm sorry that there's not a better answer. And I feel like when you talk to people, they want you to give them the answer that will work all the time. And they want you to give them the fastest and easiest one. And that's never something I do, but with this temperament, it would just set you up for failure, and I would look like a dingbat. You'd be like, Meg doesn't even have good things to say. Like, I tried all the things she does and it doesn't work. Well, you can try all the things I do and it will work someday. It's not going to be Thursday though, guys. All right, does anybody have any more questions? Thanks, guys. I loved all those questions. And if you have more, or you think of one, or you want more of a answer, right? I kind of went quickly because I know it's 8:15. So you will get this recorded version when my website guy does his magic. I don't know what happens. I just get a link back. I have no idea how it happens. So, and you will get, I will give you the handouts again, just because. And then I will give you your certificate. So your certificate will be, if you're a teacher, right, and you need a certificate, it will be blank. You get to put 1 hour and 15 minutes on it, okay? Because we are at 8:15 or 8:14. By the time I stop talking, it will be 8:15. Okay, I'm here for any questions. If you want to find all my things, right, I talk about strong will a lot. You can go, right, I just joined TikTok. You are welcome about that. I have a YouTube channel. I have Instagram and Facebook. You can follow me on all those for all the videos I do and reels I do and information I give. I heard about you from a teacher that I follow on TikTok. Really? That's amazing. That makes me feel so good. TikTok's a little silly for me. But I did it because someone business-wise told me I should do it. So, okay, guys, we all good? We all awesome and wonderful and perfect and amazing? Thank you for staying an extra 15 minutes. I'm going to go now put my son to bed. And he'll be mad at me for the extra 15 minutes. And oh, next month, if you were still here, next month is gonna, oh no, it's actually the 23rd of February. 23rd of February is going to be bullying. I'm doing a bullying workshop because that keeps coming up for me in my work. And I think we really need to get a good handle on it and get more, right? I always say, people always ask me, what do I do instead? And I said, the question isn't what do I do instead? It's what do I do? What information do I need so I know what to do instead? And I think that bullying is one of those that we don't have good information on how to make sure that it happens less. So I'm doing that on February 23rd, again, from 7 to 8 p.m. So watch out for my emails and my stuff on social media. Thank you guys so much for coming. I wish you were really all in my living room, to be honest. And I know it was great, but short, Natalie. I know. I think at this time, though, I don't think people want it more than that. Although we went 16 minutes too long. But yes. Okay, guys. Whoa. Someone came on to say hi to us. Okay, guys, I will see you hopefully on February 23rd. Bye, guys. See ya. Now I gotta try to figure out how to do this part. Yes. Stop share. End. Here we go. Bye, guys.